The National Hockey League. Sometimes I love it. I mean, most times I really love it. It's been my number one sport since I can remember remembering. Sometimes, though, it drives me insane. And so before I get into the positive side, we're going to start negatively. I don't like how long the season goes on for. I think there are too many regular season games. Well, guess what? They're adding more regular season games. And the season's going to go on. Why? Because they're going to add more to the National Hockey League. Call me an old man, say I'm yelling at clouds, get off my lawn. I like I like it the way it is. I don't want any more change, Marco. What's going on with the National Hockey League and expansion as it relates to expansion and what? Quebec City, I was always told, you build it, they will come. They built the Videotron Center, feels like a lifetime ago. Ain't nobody going NHL wise to Quebec City, but they might be going to where? Atlanta again? New Orleans? Louisiana? Marco, your thoughts on possible NHL expansion that seems very real?
Yeah, I think we've heard about Atlanta for a while. Obviously, they got the one of the main issues with Atlanta the first time was ticket drives were a little bit difficult because the team made the playoffs once in their time there, and B, it was in the middle of downtown Atlanta, which for better or for worse, is not a
I've been
place
there.
that necessarily everyone will feel comfortable going. I personally loved it, but I get it. And so that didn't do well there. But where they're building it out right now is in a giant complex well outside the city. So you're not necessarily going to be in that same kind of a situation. You also have Houston that has been on this for a while, right? Houston used to have the Houston Arrows, which is I think it used to be the Minnesota Wilds affiliate before they moved to Iowa. And there's been a call there for a while how well the Dallas Stars got implemented and just being able to create that rivalry. So Houston has also been involved, and obviously I think top 5 biggest sport cities in the
Yeah.
United States.
Yeah.
So they're obviously involved. Those are the two that I've known about for at least a year now. But now you're starting
And
to see more.
and I get it. Like NHL expansion dollars. Look what Vegas paid. Look what Seattle paid. I mean,
Well,
this is the
it's two
this is the
billion.
right. This is the growth we're
It's going to be
talking
2
about.
billion.
That
Yeah.
the money from this expansion fee gets put into the pockets of the NHL owners, and the league grows and the league grows, which takes us into the positive side of this discussion today. Do you think the current NHL playoff system is working? The NBA in the COVID years went and adopted a play-in format. It seems to be everybody loves more playoff games. It's more drama, edge of your seat type stuff. Who doesn't love the live to play another day, or if you don't win today, your season is over? I've
Mhm.
got mixed feelings about the play-in tournament personally, Marco. I'm curious your initial reaction to this about the possibility they're going to get there. I'm convinced it's coming. Um, how do you think the overall market is going to react to a play-in tournament, playoff style NHL edition?
I just think that if you expand beyond 30, like, because the modern day playoff system is the best 8, right? That's
Yeah,
always been the case, right? That's the modern day system. It was a system that worked when there were less teams that missed the playoffs than made the playoffs. But the
yeah,
moment it starts going the other way and you have more teams that miss the playoffs than make the playoffs, that's bad for your sport, my honest opinion.
yeah.
It
Agreed.
just creates a level of mediocrity that no one really wants. And some teams will get stuck in there because they can't draft high enough, and then this and that. It's going to be a cluster issue. So if they're intent on expanding to 34 and eventually 36, then the idea becomes okay, well, we can't have 16 teams make the playoffs and 20 not. So what do you do?
Right.
A playoff system, in my opinion, makes sense for a multitude of reasons. A, you get meaningful hockey even after the rush of the season ends, right? So the playoff race at the end still as tight as it once was, but I think it does two things. It gives top teams even more reason to push after
Sure.
they're not necessarily in the running for the President's Trophy, right? It gives an extra benefit to divisional winners because then they'll probably just get a bye, right? And await the winners of the play in the playoffs.
Right.
Because eventually, when the playoffs start, it'll be 16 teams, right? So I think it gives you the opportunity to really kind of play. And whether it's the first of the division, the first and second of the division, like it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, you have that opportunity to kind of expand the process. And so I remember when the play-in was brought in 2020. Canadiens fans that wanted the Canadiens to get a top pick, we're not happy because the cutoff was the bottom 8 and everybody else
Right.
was in the play-in, remember?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
only the top divisional teams were exempt. And Montreal, who was ninth to last at that time, still
Mhm.
managed to beat the Pittsburgh Penguins,
Yep.
and were able to jump into a playoff, a
That's
playoff
great.
series against the Philadelphia Flyers that they had no business in had COVID not struck in the March of 2020. So I thought that the drama of that was fantastic. And yes, the Canadians didn't get to pick top 10. They were to pick ninth, I believe, right after where Minnesota picked, I believe, and then
Yeah.
ended up picking Gooley anyway, who they would have picked at that rank nonetheless. So I think for all intents and purposes that was fun, but the drama was insane because even remember Columbus eliminating the Leafs. The Leafs were at the top of top of the standings at the time, not the top, but around the top, and they got ousted by the Blue Jackets. And man, was it fun! Man, was it exciting because you get more opportunity for upsets, more opportunity for different kinds of dynamics. And I just feel like if you have more elimination style games, if you have more drama in your sport, more attention, then owners make more money. So why not?
Yeah.
Players will help grow the sport because you're going to get additional TV money from this, right? So you're going to get a bigger cut of that. It just helps the game in and of itself. If
Does it?
the inevitability of expansion is coming, then a
Yeah.
play-in to me
But
is just the best way to give everybody the best of both worlds.
yeah, but like no league has more teams that qualify for the playoffs than the National Hockey League does. Like you just said it yourself. 8 teams in the West,
Well,
8 teams in the East. To me, it creates a problem. You know it and I know it. You don't have to admit it. I'll admit it. The NHL regular season, you're going through the motions to get to the playoffs. You hope you're good enough and healthy enough to get over the line. And we all
yeah,
watch playoff hockey. Guys put each other through the wall and then some to get to the Stanley Cup, right?
yeah.
This to me, it even further waters down the regular season. To me, it even cheapens the value of the regular season. I'll tell you why. Be good. Be good enough to get in the top 8 of your conference and you make the playoffs. Like it's so uncomplicated. And to have a team like, oh, Detroit's going to play a team just to get in. Like, what are we doing with the regular season? What's the point? 8 teams get in, 8 teams get in. I'll see you in April. Let the playoffs begin, and we'll do it again next year. It just makes so much sense in my brain, and they're
What,
overcomplicating.
isn't the NBA also kind of in that situation right now where they
They're
have
in
30
that
teams?
exact situation. And
But they
guess
have
what?
30 teams.
You watch the NBA, bro. Veterans slow down. Defense isn't what they're known for deep into the regular season. Everything gets ratcheted up in the playoffs. So
Mhm.
it's just to me, it's a watering down effect. That's how I read it.
I get it and I can understand it, but also at the same time, the game must evolve to a degree. Like
Yeah, money. Yeah.
there were similar, yeah, but there were similar concerns, with the 1968 expansion, where like the playoffs suddenly became 3 rounds as opposed to 2 rounds. It's like, oh well, why do we have to do that? Why do we have to let more teams in the playoffs? I feel like there's always going to be that motion where when the moment they instituted 16 teams making the playoffs, I believe that was in the early 90s,
Yeah.
um, there were 23 teams. It made sense, right?
Yeah.
Whereas
Yep.
now you're going to start having way too many teams. I mean, you could start talking about, and obviously they're never going to do this in North America because God forbid, but like if you had like 2 tiers of NHL teams where there would
Mm.
actually be like relegation and then there would be
Oh
an actual
boy.
playoff format. Now you're talking.
Yes,
Now you
sir.
actually have to responsibilize teams and you can't just
Correct.
fail upwards by drafting a
Correct.
generational player first overall. Like,
That's
no.
right.
So to me, if that's off the table because there's too much money involved and these new owners pay too much to be a relegated team and it would probably disadvantage smaller markets, and we're going to stick to one team, the play-in is the only
Yeah.
solution, because ultimately you will have a problem in terms of keeping your league afloat? If not, and if so, again, as I go back to it, if the league has made the decision that expansion is the way because the owners want to pocket, if it's 2 billion split over 32 owners right now, you
Papier,
know,
papier.
so I get it. I don't agree with it, but if
Yeah,
that's the way they're going,
yes,
to me,
because
you have to do a play-in, and the small amount of play-in action that we have seen in the NHL's history was exciting. So I know that we're not fun and thinking it's going to water down the change. Obviously, if there's a play-in already with 84 games, if there's a play-in function that's brought in, it has to be a shorter series. It has to be like what the AHL does, where it's like a best of 3.
Correct. But let
Right?
me put it to you this way, okay? In terms of, you come from a marketing background, right? Let me put
Yeah.
it to you in a marketing way. Some NBA playoffs, you're going to get Joel Embiid against Jimmy Butler. You may get LeBron James versus Steph Curry, right? You got 5 guys on the NBA floor that play the majority of the game. That's not unique to hockey. That's unique to basketball.
Yeah.
And so in the hypothetical world that exists, that it's Patrick Waugh's Islanders taking on the Detroit Red Wings, from a marketing standpoint, I mean, the NHL can't touch the NBA. LeBron versus Steph. Winner goes
No.
on to the playoffs. I mean, holy cow. And that's why I
Yeah.
think it's going to be a tough, like you and I are going to watch it. The people watching us are going to watch it because we're all together as hockey junkies. I'm worried about, is the fringe fan going to decide, let's go out for dinner or let's watch the Islanders play the Red Wings?
Depends. If you're trying, like, to me, you're bringing in 2 teams that have been around for 50 plus 60 years, almost 100 in Detroit's case.
Yep.
And you look at those markets, those already established. A play-in would be for those non-traditional markets that haven't seen a ton of playoffs over the time that they've been around. I'm thinking about the Columbus Blue Jackets. I'm thinking about the Utah Mammoth / Arizona Coyotes. I'm thinking about Nashville had its run with their team, but you get what I'm saying, right? And if you bring in these new teams, like Seattle would probably get more of a crack at the playoffs.
San
with
Jose.
the play-in.
San Jose.
San Jose had its run with but like, yes, this new San Jose team would get into the playoffs a little bit faster, in my opinion. But it also would give the teams starting with expansion a little bit more leeway to try and be successful early on and try to get into those meaningful games faster.
I can see that.
And I think that's an easier way to get your money's worth. And at the same time, it's a faster way to create rivalries with teams, because quite frankly, other than the geographical rivalry between Seattle and Vancouver, who are their real rivals? Who do they truly hate? No one, because they never, maybe Colorado hates them because they got ousted in the playoffs or something, or like, but at the end of the day, there's no rivalry. Whereas if you look at Vegas has a strong rivalry with San Jose because they met in the playoffs. And so that, to me, when you put teams in an elimination setting, you create storylines. And as a person that works in marketing, storylines sell. Organic storylines sell, not the Forrest Ovechkin versus Crosby stuff we had in 05-06, but like the things you can organically sell, the things that fans will pay money to watch. That's what a play-in format could bring. My 2 cents.
Get ready. It's coming. That's Marco D'Amico. You could follow him at MN D'Amico with RG Media. Marco, thank you as always, young man. And let's do it again real soon, because we're here every day. So real soon means like probably tomorrow or something like that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. And to make sure to like and subscribe, because it helps us get this out there to the masses. Enjoy the time off, Marco. Oh, I guess we should say that too, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, we'll put this out on social. So if you're watching this now, we've decided we're going to take 5 days off. We're going to take some time. It's the first time, brother, we've taken time off since, I don't know, October, November, whatever it is. So we've decided the first week of August, Marco and I are going to we're going to a Coldplay concert together. We haven't told our respective wives. Do you want to be big spoon or little spoon? Do you want to hold me from behind, or do you want me to hold you from behind? I think because I'm taller than you, I should be behind. So we could just recreate the viral moment, right?
Yeah, sure.
I'm a good hugger. All right, Marco, let's end on a high as always. He's got his hat back on. He's a cool guy. Marco, thanks, man. We'll see you soon.
Have a good one, everybody.